Welcome to another edition of On the Lesson Tee with Brad Redding. When I work with students, I think that exaggerations actually help them get there faster. And I'm a big believer in exaggerations. If anyone's ever taken a lesson from me, they know that I work in this fashion because I get results faster. There's been some posts on Facebook and some other social media about how unimportant the backswing is because it's all about the downswing. Well, there's no question that there's so many different types of backswings that we see, but most of those are on tour. There's been some posts on Facebook about people talking about how unimportant the backswing is, and they give examples of PGA Tour players. We're talking about world-class athletes with great hand and eye coordination, and so they can make compensations. But most of the unusual backswings are too far to the outside in the backswing. Very few go way inside. Raymond Floyd did. That's a long time ago. Most of what you see out now is if they make an error, it's more to the outside. So on the left here, I have a student when we first started this day. This is a 3-hour golf school that I gave. And on the way back, you can see how much inside and below the plane he is in the backswing. Lots of bending out of his wrist, lots of arm motion, not a whole lot of back and chest turn. So that club's going through a lot of different angles. It's too flat at the beginning. As the case with most golfers, they're going to lift at the top, and now it's get too steep. First move way down, he'll try to come from the outside. He recovers pretty well, though, right at impact. I mean, he's gotten the club back down in an area where he can find the back of the golf ball. The problem is that he could hit his irons okay. His driver was terrible. I mean, he hit some he said, some of the worst drives you've ever seen in your life. They would tend to go way over here. So at the beginning of the lesson, I asked him, I said, what do you want to get fixed here? He said, well, I'd love to hit my irons straighter, take away a lot of the pulls and the pull hooks. And I want to hit my driver, obviously, straighter and longer. And the big issue with his driver, he's leave everything to the right. So here's the exaggeration I gave him. We did work on his posture some. And then we worked a little bit on his path of his golf club. And I used me as the image for him to swing. So standing behind him, I got the club to go back much more outside and above the plane. His wrists are actually cocking more outside and above the plane. And then on the way down, inside and below. He made tons of rehearsals that way. Me using myself as the idea of where the club needs to go. And then on the way down, much more inside of me. He made that swing over and over again. Now, people say, Brad, it's kind of dangerous standing right there. Well, yeah, I mean, I had to get him to do it kind of slowly. And you see my head kind of ducking out of the way. But by being there, he got the sensation of what to do. That's exactly the opposite of where he used to go. The exact opposite. Here's the funny thing, though. Once I get him to make it that extreme, well, over here on the left will be the real swing. This is where he is in a real swing. So on the way back, although I extremed it in a real swing, he wouldn't be as extreme. It's just closer. Obviously very different than where it was. Nowhere near this one on the left. On the right. Much more outside here. This one less inside. As I kept on him working on that, he simply got better and better and better. We did a lot of these together right here. A lot of these. But then it'll swing. It turns out like this. Now, obviously, that's tremendously different than what he was. That's in about, probably took us about an hour and a half to get him to change that. But again, the fact that I overdid it over here, I know he's going to move back to where he used to be to some extent, and now he's here. Obviously very different. And on the way down, very different. When you're hitting a driver, you've got to catch the golf ball on the upswing to increase your distance. Well, there's no question that's more from the inside. That's in the back of the golf ball. And all of a sudden, he started hitting draws. And he said, Brad, if you could get me to hit a draw today, he said, that would be beyond my expectations. And I said, okay, be prepared because it will happen today. And within an hour and a half of the beginning of the lesson, his golf swing started out like this. And by the end of the lesson, hour and a half into it, okay, all of a sudden it changed pretty dramatically. So here's where he was when we first started. On the way back, very much inside, lots of hand action, wrists are bending here, not much turning going out of the back and chest and shoulders. His main goal here was to fix his driver, to get it better. And obviously this is very different. And obviously this is very different as opposed to this. So when someone says the backswing is not important, well, if you're talking about world-class athletes, yes, it's not as important. Although most of the ones that are off plane or unusual are outside. Jim Furyk, Freddie Couples, those guys, Nick Trevino, are definitely more outside. Well, this obviously is more on plane on the way back. And definitely better on the way down. He started hitting draws from there. And to get him there, I had to do this to get him there. Lots and lots of those. So, just another issue on the Lesson Tee with Brad Redding to help you understand that the backswing is pretty important to produce a non-plane downswing. Hope everyone's doing well. Talk to you soon.